Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. Really appreciate you being here. So we have yet another European country coming out and joining the bandwagon on telling their citizens that they need to prepare for war with Russia. Okay, so we've had so many countries coming out. Okay, Germany's come out, UK's come out, Sweden. Okay, so many different countries. I want to say at least 5 or 10 maybe by now. Just everybody's coming out over there and saying, hey, we need to get ready for war with Russia in the next 5 to 8 years. And some are saying even sooner than that. Okay, even NATO's top admiral, Rob Bauer, I put a video on that just a couple weeks ago. He came out as well warning NATO and citizens of basically the entire world that, or at least in the West, that they need to get prepared for war with Russia. Okay, so there's lots and lots of news coming out on this, and this is the latest. We've got, this is Romania's chief of defense that you can see here on your right side of your screen. His name is a little hard to pronounce, but I believe it is Georgida Vlad. Okay, so he's Romania's chief of defense, and he was having an interview here with Europa Libera Romania. It's a news service from Radio Free Europe or Radio Liberty. Okay, so he was basically telling this woman that his country currently isn't prepared for the prospect of war with Russia and warned it needs to take such a threat seriously. So it's at this point, there's just so much talk about this that I think a lot of people are becoming desensitized to it. But at the same time, you need to realize that if all these countries are starting to prepare for war, man, doesn't it really seem like there really is a war coming? Because you got to think about, like, Russia and Ukraine are already at it, right? The Middle East is already blowing up right now, especially with all these U.S. retaliatory strikes happening over there. It's only going to kick the hornet's nest and make things worse over there. Okay, I'm going to be doing a video pretty soon as well about North Korea. North Korea is right now, Kim Jong-un is preparing his entire country for war right now as we speak, literally making it known to everybody that he's preparing for war. Like, he's ready to launch a war with South Korea and, potentially the United States as well, and maybe many other countries. So, to me, I take these warnings seriously because they may be repetitive, but at the same time, it really showcases the landscape here of what's really going on, and there really is preparations for war going on right now. Okay, and these countries they're trying to keep it on the down low, but they really are preparing for war. It's no joke. So it's very, very dangerous what's happening here. And once again, we got another country coming out just like Romania. And what was it, just back, I don't know, last 6 months or so, Romania actually came under attack by several drones that landed in their territory. These were Russian drones that were fired, I believe, from like the Black Sea area. And they were supposed to be targeted in the Ukrainian border, or beyond the Ukrainian border, inside of Ukrainian territory. And some of these drones somehow managed to land inside Romanian territory. And many were speculating at the time that NATO was going to, invoke Article 5 and say that, a NATO nation was attacked, and they had multiple drones. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 that landed inside Romanian territory. They found remnants of the drones and everything, but there was no Article 5 that was drafted up. So yeah, it's Romania's been under attack, actually, technically, by the Russians. So I see their point in trying to respond and make sure they're ready for this, but at the same time, it's very scary what's happening here. So let's go over this article here. Another NATO country warns about potential war with Russia. Romania on Thursday joined the growing list of NATO countries who's had a prominent official warn about the potential going to war with Russia. General Georgia Vlad Romania's chief of defense said during an interview with Europa Libera Romania, a news service from Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, that his country currently isn't prepared for the prospect of war with Russia and warned it needs to take such a threat seriously. Vlad's warning follows remarks made last week by General Patrick Sanders, United Kingdom's army chief, in which he called on British authorities to prepare for mass mobilization due to the possibility of Russia's current conflict in Ukraine spilling over in other countries. So clearly, Romania's got the message here, and they're aware that there is a possibility that this Ukraine war could spill over. There's lots of anticipation that Russia is going to be launching a massive attack on Ukraine here pretty soon, maybe in the next few months. And what happens if that war does happen to spill over into a nearby country, like let's say Poland or the Baltics, or some other NATO member comes under attack. It's not likely that that would happen, but you never know. In today's world, anything is possible. So before Sanders made his comments, Germany's defense minister Boris Pistorius said in an interview published on January 19th that a Russian attack on NATO could possibly occur within the next 5 to 8 years, while Dutch Admiral Rob Bauer said last month that NATO needs to be on combat-ready footing. So look at that. There's lots and lots of talk here about getting countries ready. The UK was talking about conscription. They're saying that right now there is no conscription, but if there's a war declared, there will be a conscription. And even in the United States or wherever you're at in Europe, unless by then U.S. decides to pull out of NATO, potentially, if we do get Donald Trump back in office this year, there is a possibility he will work to remove the United States from NATO. So this could be a big problem if Russia decides to go after Europe. The United States may not come to their aid. So I think these countries are preparing for that possibility. I think that's why they're also, getting ready to prepare for war. Is they may have to defend themselves alone without the support of the United States should Trump remove them from NATO. It's possible. The Russian Federation has become a problem for the world order, for democracy, Vlad said to Europa Libera Romania. In fact, it is a Russian war with a democratic world. This is not a war with Ukraine. So he's basically saying that Russia's at war with the West, which is very obvious, right? We know that. Newsweek reached out to Romanian and Russian ministries of defense via email on Thursday night for comment. Of the possibility of Russian President Vladimir Putin going to war elsewhere, Vlad said the population of Romania, like the entire population of the European Union, of Europe, must be concerned. If Putin, wins in Ukraine, the main target will be the Republic of Moldova. So there was a lot of talk about that in the last year. I want to say that Moldova was technically next to be attacked in line after Ukraine. Okay, so it is possible he could go after them after Ukraine falls, should that happen. We will witness tensions in the Western Balkans, he continued. I am more convinced that President Putin's policy will escalate in the near future. Very possible. Speaking about debris from a Russian drone that fell in Romania, here's what I was talking about. In September, Vlad claimed his country had no combat systems and said legal reforms should be enacted for Romania to better thwart drone attacks. Vlad cited the lack of compulsory military service in his country as a reason for it not being combat ready, and suggested introducing voluntary basic military training for men and women up to 35 years old. Look at that. So they're preparing to bolster up their military as well and get these civilian populations armed and ready to go should a war break out. So this is not just Romania doing this. This is the UK doing that. The UK was literally saying, we need to develop a civilian army. We need civilian military recruits, like people ready to go that aren't necessarily in the military, but they're ready to go should they be called up. So they're kind of like reserves, but not really reserves. But they want to build a civilian army because they said that civilian armies win wars. Civilians win the wars, and then the army starts them. Okay, so that basically means, just like in World War II, what happened there? There was the armies that went, And then soon after, that's when more people got drafted to war. So the civilians are the ones that actually fight the wars, and then the armies start them, right? The Romanian general also urged NATO countries to consider starting voluntary military service, as well as called on NATO allies to build up their stockpiles of weapons. So there you go, too. There's more signs that war is coming. Meanwhile, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov earlier this week called NATO a threat to Russia before suggesting there could be a response to recent actions taken by the alliance. So this almost reminds me of North Korea. Okay, what did North Korea do to South Korea recently? They withdrew from multiple weapons deals with South Korea, and they started putting more troops on their border. And then they also declared South Korea as public enemy number one, basically. So stating that, if we go to war, you are the first to be attacked. Okay, so this is what Russia's doing too. He's calling NATO a threat. His comments came when he asked about the NATO military exercise Steadfast Defender 2024. The alliance operation, which launched last week, involves around 90,000 service members from 31 NATO allies and Sweden. I believe this Steadfast Defender exercise is supposed to be going on for several months. And it's interesting the timing, because it's all during the time that, at least I believe, there could be a potential spring offensive by the Russians, where they may want to try to end this thing once and for all and get it done this year before Trump even gets in office. Because once Trump gets in office, things could change. Okay, this war could end, Putin's going to have big problems here if he can't work around Trump to get what he wants, and that could happen. So there's a big possibility we're going to see an attack from Russia rolling through Ukraine to try to take it over and end this thing. And then there's a very big possibility after that a lot of these countries are worried about that he could attack another NATO member. So reading on, of course, NATO is a threat to us. That is how we treat it. And we are constantly taking appropriate measures to deal with it, Peskov said, according to Agent France Press, the AFP. Okay, so big deal what's going on over here. And what is Putin doing right now as well? He's going to be visiting North Korea, I believe, in the next couple months. He's going to be heading to North Korea. And why do you think he's going to North Korea? He's going there to get more arms. Okay, he's probably going to get more artillery rounds, more missiles, more drones, whatever he can get from North Korea, because North Korea is working hand in hand with the Russians right now. And why do you think he's getting more weapons? Well, he's expecting this war to expand, and potentially expand to have to fight NATO. So, Russia's been spending lots of money, billions upon billions of dollars here to keep this war going. Okay, it's affected their economy as well. And if he doesn't have something to show for this, how do you think the people of Russia are going to feel? He's going to have to do something drastic this year, at least I believe so. He's also up for re-election here pretty soon, which he'll probably be re-elected. And, a lot can change here. So we're going to be seeing some major stuff happening this year with the Ukraine war. Something big is bound to go down here probably in the next maybe 3 months or so. And as soon as it comes out, I'm definitely going to be covering it. But again, we've got another country here, Romania, coming out and saying, hey, we need to get prepared for war with Russia. This is not the only NATO member and European country that's saying this. So I think Europe is very concerned here, and they're taking it seriously. Unlike countries like the United States is not really worrying about any potential wars. They just keep saying we don't want war. But the United States is not preparing at all. Not at all. Even the civilians, they're not preparing the civilians. It's great that these European countries are doing that, because they're actually preparing their citizens for something that could actually happen. Okay, will it happen? We don't know. But is it possible that it could happen? Yes. And is it important to be prepared? Yeah, I believe that too. So I think the U.S. should do the same thing. I think they should prepare as well, just in case. But for some reason, that's not the agenda here in the United States. So anyway, that's going to be the latest here on Romania coming out and declaring that they want their country to be prepared for war with Russia. So I hope you're preparing as well. There's a lot of signs coming out over here that this could definitely go down here in the next few years. So hope you're ready for it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. And YouTube will notify you as soon as a video goes live. So thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you all have a great day. Everybody stay safe out there. Take care, everybody. God bless.